So today we're here with Grant Warrington. He's a contributor for the Bigger Pockets. He's gained financial independence, owning over 139 units. He's managed over 800 units and rehabbed over 100. And newly the co-host of the Go Abundance podcast. You want to tell me about that, or?
Yeah, it's a Tribal Millionaires podcast. They asked me to be a co-host on it, so I'm super excited. It's a men's high-level networking group, so just the guests we have on are just phenomenal. So for me, it just is a great experience.
Great. All right. Well, as we used to be office partners when you started here years ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, I could see big things in you back then, and you're still going.
Thanks.
Still going. But do you have any advice for anybody who would want to start out 7 years ago where you used to be, just one unit? What was their mindset? What was the best thing that got you going?
Yeah, I would say you have to have a reason, right? So my big reason was I hated having a boss, and when that overtakes, you have to have that burning desire, and I had that. When I'm sitting here talking about that right now, that I did not want to have a boss, I can feel it in my chest. I don't have a boss, but it's still, those feelings come up, and that's how I was just so focused on getting that done that quitting my job that I thought I'll do anything. And real estate investing was just something I kind of had a passion for, but I saw it and I thought, you know what, I can do this. I can analyze houses. That's what I started with. So really, you have to have a why, and your why has to be big enough. And and if you have that inside, that's really how you can get going and build off that why.
I could definitely tell you were determined.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's really true. I mean, you do have to have, as someone else has said before, a big, hairy, audacious goal and just go for it. But, I mean, the market's really uncertain right now. And so the word invest is kind of dirty right now. So why should someone think about investing in properties?
Yeah, and I like to tell people in 2016, right? So let's go back to 2008, 2010. People were buying houses downriver, $18,000 they were buying those houses for, right? And in 2016, I was buying those houses for $65,000. And I remember a guy telling me, the market's inflated. I'm not buying anything anymore. I'm going to wait till they come back to $18,000. And I think about that guy, and I'm like, where is he today? Right? I have more units than him now. I know who he is, and I'm like, bro, you missed the boat. You know what I mean? Because you thought, well, this is a shitty time to buy, and I'm not going to do it. So I tell people that there's a way to analyze these things. No matter what market you're in, you always need to focus and have that mindset. I'm a buyer, right? What you do is you run the numbers. You make sure that, hey, I'm going to be able to make this payment, and it's going to cash flow. That's the biggest thing. Buy a house that's going to cash flow. It is a business. You wouldn't buy a business that doesn't cash flow. Don't buy a house that doesn't cash flow. So that's always my advice. Be a buyer. Be careful, right? You want to stress test it too. How long, if you had a vacancy for 3 months, what would happen? If I had to lower my rent by $200, what would happen? You want to kind of stress test it in this market, but always be a buyer and have that buyer mentality.
Good advice.
Yeah. Well, no, I've always loved your positive attitude.
Thanks.
That's one of the things that always stood out. Love your videos. He goes through every detail as to even what he does with a rehab, what sinks to buy, what tools to have.
Now you're watching.
Anything. He's covered everything.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend follow him on Instagram. He's very knowledgeable and always putting content out.
Yeah, that, you know what, the reason I do that too is because when I bought my first apartment building, so first, again, started with single family rentals, right? Mm-hmm. Start wherever you can, always. Just do whatever you can to get started and get moving. Now I'm into apartment buildings, and there was no content out there. So we bought the building. Like I said, I had managed 800 units at that time. So I wasn't new to that, but the thing was, what kind of flooring do we use? What kind of paint do we use? And these were big decisions because we're going to do this on every single unit that we own. And every single apartment building, we're going to repeat it. So we wanted to make sure we got these things right. What kind of sink? What kind of faucet? What kind of light fixtures do we use? And there was no one out there putting that content out there.
And you just filled the niche.
I did. And that's what I thought. Like, we spent months and months and months trying to figure this shit out. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to just put this out there. I'm going to make it easier for someone else now to just copy us, because that's what I like to do. That's how I started in real estate investing. I found a guy that told me, do this, 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 and this, and you'll be successful. And I said, oh shit, I can do that. I can copy what you told me. And that's what I did. And that's how I became successful.
And why reinvent the wheel if it's working,
100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Is there anything you want to plug while you're here?
Yeah, just one thing. You can follow me on Instagram at Grant Warrington, and I also have a course coming out. It's called the Apartment Buying Blueprint, and you can go to apartmentbuyingblueprint.com.
Nice.
And what that does is it takes people just like me that owned single-family rentals and then realized, oh shit, I'm going to have to own 50 to 100 of these to actually start making real money. So that's why I jumped to apartments. So what my course is going to do, it's going to teach people that own a few rentals already how to jump into owning small apartment buildings. So it's going to be a huge course. I'm super excited about it. There's a ton of value. So apartmentbuildingblueprint.com.
And when's that come live?
That's about 30 days.
30 days.
30 days.
Awesome.
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, we'll see you next time, and hopefully you've learned something. We always like to bring you some new information, and if you're not looking to invest, but rather just sell or buy your primary residence or a vacation home, remember, DNA Real Estate Advisors are here to be your source.
Give us a call. Hope you have a great day.